That would be good.
Trollord Games. Join the fray.
And I think we are live. That's still running. Let me get that off of here.
I have complete faith in you, Chuck, that we are indeed live.
We are live, but we're hidden behind a nice video. Oh, there it goes. There we go.
There it is. It is live. We are here today to talk about UFOs.
Live. Wait, what? Oh, wait, I forgot about that. We can switch off too. We can do different stuff. One week we do that. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yes. We're going to talk about the Piedmont Flap of 1973. We're not going to talk about that today, but I haven't finished the book, so we can't really talk about it. But the truth is, that it is indeed. I don't have some interesting conversations at Gen Con about UFOs. As much as I talked about games all over the place, the most interesting conversations were about UFOs. So, I was 0 years old in 1973. Well, this one is interesting. It's Piedmont, Missouri, and this is what fascinates me about the UFO conversation, because the more I read, the more stuff that I discover that's out there that we don't know anything about, because it's not part of the popular jibber jabber fest. You know, we know Roswell or whatever, the Tic Tacs, I guess, whatever, but there's gajillions of sightings that we just don't ever hear anything about because they don't make the popular whatever. And this Piedmont thing, this goes on for like 6 weeks. People are seeing, it's in Piedmont, Missouri, which I think is in southwestern central Missouri. People are seeing these UFOs for weeks on end, like 6 weeks. This thing goes on. Don't worry about it. I got my mom's dog today. 6 weeks this thing goes on, to the point that a physicist from the University of Cape Girardeau puts a small team together, gets a little bit of funding together, and he goes up and studies these sightings. And I mean, his book is filled with this stuff. I mean, it's diagram. It's just charts and of all his. I don't know anything about physics or whatever. But it's just all kinds of stuff like that. Pretty fascinating stuff that we just don't, even these UFO documentaries that we always see on the History Channel or Netflix or wherever we watch crap these days, they all just talk about the same damn thing over and over and over again. It's like there's one writer for all of these things. When it would be cool to do a whole documentary on the Piedmont Flat, but who can say? But anyways, my name is Stephen Chenault. This is Ask Me Anything. We're here to chat about whatever's on your mind, not what's on my mind. If you have any questions about what we're doing, what we're not doing, what we're failing to do, conventions, crowdfunding campaigns, whatever it is, we will pontificate and answer. Paladin, I've been rewatching X-Files. I'm not doing the arcs only Paladin. I'm watching the whole thing. I'm in season 3. I watched the other episode just for Gen Con. I can't remember what that episode was about. But, I've been watching the whole thing. Steve, I could talk with you for hours on this stuff. I have been steeped. Oh, see, there you go. And that's another thing. There's a whole lot of people out there who are really fascinated by this topic and are just, filled with lots of information about things they've read, observations, what have you. I don't know. We should really do, Chuck and I have been intending to do this for months and months and months, is do a UFO-centric Twitch stream, but we don't ever get around to it. What are you chuckling about, Chuck? Just the desire?
No, I'm playing some sounds. You can't hear them, which I figured you couldn't, but...
What do you got going? Alien sounds?
No, I played... that one was from some movie. I don't know. Trolling the Dungeons. I don't know. It's pretty funny.
There you go. Yeah, Chuck added some sound alerts, I guess, to whatever we're doing here.
Yeah, I need to do some more for aliens. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we need to get some alien stuff up there. Savage, I believe was it Savage that asked for Gen Con? Yes, excuse me. Gen Con was good. We have discovered the loss of points, and as a very quick recap, we had 20 years of points stacked up with Gen Con, and because I didn't go for 5 years, I lost all those points, so it's like we're a brand new company. Our replacement is not bad. It's okay, but we can't get a bigger booth. We desperately need a bigger booth. And our booth needs a major overhaul, and we instituted the overhaul at Gen Con. So next, probably by Game Hole, you'll start seeing the new TLG presentation, which is great. But the con overall was really good. I went I went to it back to back with Comic Con. I got getting to compare those two conventions. 150,000, I think there were 72,000. I heard at one point at Gen Con. Very crowded, very constant flow of people, but a very different vibe. Gen Con has a very, very different vibe than Comic Con. But con was good. We didn't stay around too much as we should have, but we didn't. I'm on it, Jeremy. We didn't stay around. Our hotel was outside of town. I probably should have meandered around. All right. I'm going to choke to death, apparently. But I got to get Jeremy a code, so let me... Where did it go? I'm almost there, Jeremy. Seconds. In theory, that's your code. All right. Yes. Yes, DM Chris. I need a swig of Dr. Pepper, for God's sake. MTMJ Moondog. Not sure Chuck remembers me. Chuck, do you remember MTMJ Moondog?
I don't remember people from Iowa, typically. What's up, Moon? M-O-O-N. That spells moon. Name that book.
I think he did. Yeah, I don't know what that book is, but I think he did remember.
It's called The Stand by Stephen King.
I've only read.
Oh, you would love the book. You would love the book. It is gloriously violent. You would love it.
That's by Stephen King, right?
Yeah.
Night Shift. I read Night Shift, which is a collection of short stories.
Right on.
That's the only Stephen King I ever read.
You would enjoy it. It's very violent. It's right up your alley. One dude gets a gun shoved up his ass.
Violence in my media. Paladin Dead, yes, it's very hard to come by. I'm pretty sure there's a pretty extensive waiting list, and then you can use points to maneuver your, placement around, or you can buy advertising and whatnot. And I think we haven't gotten into this part of it, but we may end up trying to buy a little advertising for next year just to get us like an end cap or hell, just a corner or something. I don't know. But Chuck would be glad to know, since I tasked Chuck with getting us games at Gen Con. I've got you 3 GMs already lined up. So all will be there, all running games.
Fantastic. So
there we go. Yeah, Sparky, it was entertaining. Sparky says, I'm exhausted just thinking about 2 big cons back to back. My stepdaughter wants me to go to all 3 days of Little Rock Comic Con. Little Rock Comic Con is a lot of fun, but I don't know, the crowd. It's just so many people. It's just so many people, crammed in. And then the hardest thing about these conventions for me is I like to wander the floor and just look at old stuff. I'm not really that interested in new things, but old things rolling about. And as you've all been to these conventions, but invariably the line just stops. It just kind of, there's a wedge, and then there you stand for 5 or 6 minutes. It's much like traffic on the road and everywhere else. Let's see. Got any questions floating around, Chuck?
Nope, everything's quiet on their end.
All right, so we're going to shake things up just a smidgen. We're going to change some stuff around here on Twitch. I don't know if Grace announced it yet, but on Friday we're going to introduce a new show. And it's called Effed Up Friday, and it's going to be Grace and Dakota going over or experiencing some of the messed up stuff around here. They may be packing some messed up orders. They may be in the print shop. They may be down at the warehouse. It'll be a 30-minute stream. I believe it is 1 Central Standard Time on Friday. And for this show, we're going to change it just a smidgen. We're going to do updates at the top of the hour at 5 o'clock. I'll do a quick update on everything. So questions along those lines, that's when we'll do those. And then we're going to dive into an aired specific discussion. The last 15 minutes, Chuck? Is that the plan?
Yeah, 15, 30, or 20, because you're going to do a little 10 minutes of updates. That always takes a little bit. And I think we might even every once in a while do aliens too, right?
I think that's a great idea. I still think we should get a dedicated show if we can find the time and the energy late at night to hop on and talk on UFOs. But Chuck, you'd have to start brushing up your UFO literature. You'd have to start.
I know. Well, I read that one book, the Blue Book or whatever. I bought it. I did.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff. Interesting stuff.
Interesting.
Thank you for the hydration, Lucretius. I don't know if that's how to say your name, but I really like it that way.
Hey,
Jeremy,
Alan.
that's all we ever talk about anyway.
Yeah.
What did I read the other day, Jeremy? I thought of you. Lawrence Watt Evans's Sword of Baloo. I forgot how much I enjoyed Evans's literature. It's good stuff. I really enjoyed Evans. He did, I don't know, 7 or 8 fantasy books back in the 80s and 90s. Pretty good stuff. See, have you watched Resident Alien on? That's with the guy from Firefly, right? I have. That's a pretty good show. I think it just got canceled, like at Comic-Con this, like a week ago. But yeah, that's a pretty good. Sort of Baloo, Bheleu, or something like that, by Lawrence Watt Evans. That's pretty good. Chuck, you need to get abducted. Steve, if you want, blah, blah, blah. Hello, get off my cloud.
Get off of my cloud.
A new follower has joined the fray.
How's it going, Alan? Hope things are well over on that side of the pond. I know you guys have had some hellacious heat for no air conditioning and no, your whole society's not built around dealing with a lot of heat. So, yeah, Death Angel, they will. And both of them are just funny about all this crap. Watt Evans's most popular book was The Misenchanted Sword. Yes, that one was on the shelf, and I decided to read Sword of Baloo. I don't know, but apparently it's part of a series. I had completely forgotten all of these things, 40 years later or whatever. Now we've got biblical rain. Well, I guess that'll break the heat up, Alan. That's there isn't that. We've actually had kind of a break in our heat down here, which is kind of nice. I worked outside with the trucks today a little bit, and only sweat for a little while. It was kind of refreshing. There can be only one. So are they not doing season 4? The Alien, Resident Alien is officially canceled. Now, whether that includes season 4 or not, that I couldn't answer. But sadly, I really like that actor. I can't remember his name. It's right on the tip of my tongue. All of those actors from Firefly are just great. I mean, I've now watched Nathan Fillion, and I've watched most of Castle, and I think I've watched a good 2 or 3 seasons of his current show, Rookie. I'm going to just go back and watch it. Rookie is really like those cop shows from the 70s and 80s. If you enjoyed those shows as a kid, Rookie's probably worth watching. Finishing Rialto the Marvelous, a bunch of wizards got in a castle and flew to a planet in the edge of the universe looking for a fellow wizard who went in search of ion stones. Very cool, very weird. Yeah, see, I like the weird. I think that's why I dove into this sword book, this Evans book, because it's just going to be different. I've been kind of thinking I want to dive back into the Eldritch series by Moorcock, but I don't know. It's quite a commitment. I have not seen Superman yet, Death Angel Shadow. I want to see it. Alan Turdick, Turdick, whatever his name is. Superman looks good, and I need to start going back to the movies. I was just talking to Davis earlier today that I got to figure out a way to ratchet down a little less troll work and a little bit not troll work. Do something else. Chuck is nodding vigorously. And I do think we are at a point. So I talked to the foreman, whatever we call him, of the construction company today. They're going to get out tomorrow and actually build the road into. There's a drainage ditch in front of the property. Build a road into the property, and what they're doing. Oh, and they're going to cut it all down. Cut, where they need to, the grass down. And they're doing something else tomorrow. So construction starts. So that whole line of conversations with them and the bank are closed. I got to meet with the bank in the morning for a very brief period. But those conversations should be finished. Gen Con is finished. We don't have any conventions until Gamehold Con, which is 8 or 9 weeks or whatever the hell's out there. And so we can kind of wrap up the Adventurers backpack, and Chuck's deep into the Canteen Crew doing a pass on the Canteen Crew. We got some of this stuff. Crusader 28, we think, will come out tomorrow. Though I failed to get those files to Chuck today as he requested. So, we'll do our best to get Crusader 28 out tomorrow. And we can get back into kind of a normal stream of things without everyone having to deal with my rage towards the banks. which is, probably quite annoying to deal with. Let's see what else we got floating around. Any questions pop up? Have you ever read any Raymond Price Rift? I've not read Rift War, but I'm pretty sure I've read some Price books. I think I read one of his not too long ago. What the hell was that? Had a purple cover. I'm trying to going back and rereading a bunch of fantasy I read back in the 80s and remembering why I liked it then. It's holding up. They're just good yarns. And before the trilogy Tolkien thing became the word of the day, these are just stories. It's just, this is a story, and that whole sort of Baloo thing was a trading, and I trying to get trade up between two peoples. I mean, it had nothing to do with the end of the world or Mount Doom or whatever. It's just weird people, killing each other.
Sparky's asking about TrollCon. Sparky, we have a new plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan is I'm going to get room blocks in town. We have a place outside of town that we can rent if we want to do some games. And then we're going to have tours of the factory.
There you go.
And you're going to drive everybody around and talk to them about the factory, Sparky. That is the plan.
There you go. That's it. We're going to put a giant tent out next to the factory.
Yeah.
It probably is not going to happen this year, Sparky.
No.
I think we're going to shift focus back on getting some of these books done. We are a hair's breadth from being done with Exaltum and Infernum. I just want to get those to the printer, and I had the very good news today that the warehouse part of the build will be done in 3 weeks. So, which means when we get these shipments in for the Gygaxian stuff, Exaltum, Infernum, and Adventures Backpack, we can put them in the new warehouse, which will be absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be great.
Dragonlance did its very best to destroy fantasy. I was never huge. I enjoyed the Dragonlance stuff, but it wasn't like something I wrote home about. It's good stuff, but I didn't.
So, question from YouTube from Mark C. Could we get an update on Castle Zygig? What levels are now being worked on? When can we anticipate the first books to be released?
You absolutely can, but we're going to hold off on that just for a minute. If you can stick around for a few minutes, we're going to do updates at the top of the hour. We're going to kind of change things around here. If you can't hang out, let us know, and I'll give you a quick answer. But please hang out for that. We're going to try to structure this a little bit different. My AMA a little bit different because we often get that kind of the same question several times. So we're going to try to get it once at the top of the hour. But if you got to go, let me know, and I'll give you the cliff notes of where we are.
What is a Fallen Blackbird Festival? Anybody know what that is?
I have no idea what that is. That's got to be UFO related because every now and again all these birds fall from the sky, which of course that's aliens flying through them. The electro whatever from the ship, kills all these blackbirds. I'm sure that's what that is.
Oh, there's Frank. What's your top 5 fantasy books on your list?
Wow.
That's a good question.
Silmarillion's right at the top.
Are you sure, Jeremy? I'm not sure about that. Are you, Jeremy? What do you think, Jeremy? I don't know.
I don't think Jeremy's gonna like that. Man, I would go with the Silmarillion's going to be the top. There's Tarzan of the Apes is second. I absolutely love that book. What else would be? Man, I want to say Eldritch. Eldritch is so good. I don't know if any of Marcock is in my favorite. There's the Songs of the Drowned Lands. I can't remember who wrote that. A really, really, really good book. Man, that top 5 is tough. Who else would be up in there?
You've got 2 so far.
I haven't read them in forever, so I don't know if they hold up. As someone spoke about the Belgariad, which I'll get to in a second, but Robert Adams, the second book of the Horse Clan series, I think is Swords of the Horse Clans is the first one. It's the second book of the Horse Clan series, whatever that is. I can't. Damn it, that's going to drive me crazy.
You don't know?
That's the second book of the Horse Clans.
Everybody knows the name of that thing, Steven. That's what is that?
You've never even
Coming of the Horse Clans, isn't it? Right? Or is it Friends of the Horse Clans?
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, I've read those. It's been years. I'm trying to remember.
No, it's
I don't remember.
No, Swords of the Horse Clans is the second one. Yeah. Swords of the Horse Clans the second one.
Okay.
Now it's been too long. The characters in it I have forgotten, but there's an emperor in there who one of the Undying. Basically, it's Earth like 100 years later or something, and then there's these horse clans and blah 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 blah, and all these new kingdoms and everything. It's all swords and armor at this point. They're very brutally written out. Lots of violence, which you all know I love. And in it is this emperor who is one of the Undying lords. There's a few people who are undying who just live forever. You can't kill them except through drowning or fire. I think it's drowning and something. But the second book of the Horse Clans would rank up there. Man, what else would I throw into that top 5? That if you put me in a corner,
what about Moorcock? Elric.
Yeah, see, probably the first, not Elric. I enjoy Elric, but it's going to be the first book of Corum, which is, what is that? Jeremy, where's Jeremy? Jeremy knows what this book is off the top of his head. Something like that. What is that first book of Corum? Damn it. Knight of Swords, thank you, yes. Knight of Swords. I absolutely love that book. Through the roof, love that book. Let's see. We got any other questions floating around in there?
We do. Well, we have a comment. You never did. We're waiting on 1/5 book.
I thought it's Silmarillion, Tarzan of the Apes.
Yeah.
Horse Clans number 2, Corum, and Songs of the Drowned Lands.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Songs of the Drowned Lands. What is that?
Songs of the Drowned Lands is really okay. Maybe I'm going to have to throw in Heart's Hope too. Heart's Hope. What is that?
Here we go.
Who wrote Heart's Hope? Such a good book. I think he got in Orson Scott Card. I think he kind of got into trouble not too long ago, but with something he said, or I don't give a crap about any of that. Heart's Hope was a really good book. Let's see. So there's 6. There's 6 in my top favorite. Does the tour involve wearing a tool belt and hard hat? No, but there is going to be a steam whistle in there. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, you and your steam whistle. He's been after me all day on that, Ed. Paladin Dad says that check this out. You're gonna love this. I had to scroll back for it. Let me find it here. Yeah, it's in Beebe, Arkansas. In 2011, thousands of blackbirds fell in the Wildwood Housing Edition. Now we have a big festival each year in Beebe to whatever, and they have a big mural on the main street for the fallen blackbirds.
I've seen that mural. I didn't, and I remember
there you go.
I wouldn't have placed it in Beebe at all.
Yeah, that's it.
Crap.
Yeah, I thought that was
crazy.
We'll
have to do TrollCon during the Blackbird Festival.
We'll have to plan that out. The Dying Earth sucked, King Kothar. I'm joking, by the way. I'm just getting him.
Is that Ursula K. Le Guin? Is that no?
What?
She wrote the far. What did she write?
No, Vance did the Dying Earth.
Yes, I keep trying to get into Vance, and I can't quite get into him. What did Ursula K. Le Guin? She wrote something. Jeremy knows. Jeremy.
He's not. He's Earthsea.
Earthsea. Yes, that was it.
Yeah. Which was good stuff.
Kevcon said the Belgariad. So I got to tell you. So that's Eddings. That's David Eddings, I think. And the Belgariad is very interesting to me because when I read the Belgariad back in the 80s, I freaking loved it. I couldn't wait for the next one to come out. Absolutely loved the Belgariad, devoured it. Then I tried his second series, The Malorian, and I could not get through book 1. It's one of the few books I quit in the middle of it, and I never finished the series. Well, a few months ago, I went back in and reread the first Belgariad, and it did not hold me like it did back in the 80s, which is interesting. And not to say it's good or bad or whatever, but it was. I just remember it being very, very, very different.
Right. Frank asks, what is your favorite dungeon adventure? For me and you as well. I'll let you go first. I know what mine is. You probably can guess mine. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's an adventure. It's got dungeon in it.
Yours is Isle of Dread. Isle of Dread.
Don't screw Isle of Dread. There you go.
Yes, you scared them. I'd get there. Mine is I think it's B1, Descendant in the Unknown, right? That's the 2 level. I absolutely love. I don't even like dungeon crawls very much, but as dungeon crawls go, that is my hands down my favorite. Now, having said that, there's a very the Moat House. If you include the Moat House from T1 as a dungeon, the Moat House is going to be my favorite, and then B1 is going to be hot on its heels.
Oh yeah. Oh, Rick, I like White Plume Mountain because it's great to run at cons because it's modular. That's why I run it so much at cons. But you get me in a nice long campaign of Isle of Dread and Inclunade, I'm happy, happy, happy. See what I did there? I just Murph Greyhawk with Inclunade.
You did.
I do it all the time. I do it every week. Every week.
Player
Oh man.
Some asks, are you going to make a memorial for Gary Gygax at the new factory, like a big stone D20? It won't. We are going to do that. It won't be a big stone D20, but I'm really thinking of getting a hold of. His name escapes me. He's a sculptor that worked on the cover for the original Book of Familiars, David Horn.
Yeah.
And seeing if he'll do a sculpture of Gary Gygax. A sculpture of Gary.
Yeah.
Sculpture of Gary Gygax.
That's right. Yeah, or a sculpting, I suppose, would work too.
Sculpting, yeah, whatever that would be called. Secret of Bone Hill is good, Manfred. That's a good one.
So what did you end up with? Is Earthseed? Did it end up in the top 7? Is that what we're hearing here?
No. I just read it. I really enjoyed it, but I don't remember it being something that has echoed for 30 years, and that's sort of what I'm kind of basing that list on when I sit and think about what fantasy novels did I read back in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
What kind of leaps out? Those are the ones that leap out because I like Heart's Hope was so unique and so interesting that it clearly left an impression. There's an image from Carl. I can't remember much of the Wagner Kane books, but there's some imagery that Wagner has left in my head that is indelibly imprinted upon my brain.
A new follower has joined the fray.
Wagner really up there. Robert E. Howard's different for me because I never read him much in the 80s. That was Davis's thing. I read Tarzan. I didn't really start reading Howard until the 2000s and something, really. I probably read a story or two, but I was very, very familiar with the Savage Sword of Conan, which I believe they're bringing back. I'm pretty sure that's a thing now. And the Marvel comic books, King Conan and the oversized Conans and all that stuff. So I'm steeped in Conan lore that's probably not accurate. You know what I mean? It's not really Conan Howard lore. And so when I started reading the Howard books, I freaking love it. I'll go back. I go back to Howard frequently, but I only read his short stories mostly. It's like Lovecraft. I have fallen in love with Lovecraft's stuff in the past, 2 years ago? I can't remember when I started reading it. It is when I read Mountains of Madness at Jason Bay's suggestion. It is really beautifully crafted. It's just beautifully crafted stuff. Yeah, Greg, that is happening. It happened with News Radio, one of my favorite shows from the 90s. I tried to go back and watch News Radio, and I just couldn't. It didn't hit. So here's an interesting review for you. Now, I haven't finished it, and Davis took my copy. At Comic-Con, I got Heavy Metal, the new #1 of Heavy Metal. And I read the first story. Now, for those of you who don't know, Heavy Metal was huge in the 70s and 80s, and it was a sort of I don't want to say a skin mag, but it had a lot of nudity in it. But it had really, in the early days, it had really good fiction, kind of avant-garde fiction, different ways to look at stuff. So it was really, I give Heavy Metal a hats off to a lot of my imagination development because it made me just think of different stuff in different directions. Now, by the late 80s, someone had bought it and turned it into basically a skin mag, and I just quit reading it. It was just then naked people running around doing naked things. And so I just quit reading it. It wasn't very good. It was okay. So they redid Heavy Metal a year or 2 years ago as a Kickstarter. It did really well. And #1 is out. So I got it to see if it held up to the old. And it did.
It
I
did?
read the first story. But there's with a tiny caveat. I'll give it a tiny caveat, and I don't want this to spoil it for anyone. I read the first story. Like I said, Davis took my copy today, so I got to buy it again. But it was really good. The art was good. The story was good. The writing was good. But it had themes in it that when you're 25 are really cool and kind of poignant, but when you're in your 50s, carry less weight. So I was waiting, I was going, okay, are we still doing this?
I got you.
Is this still the thing that the world is going to end or whatever because of overpopulation? Whatever the thing is, it's not. Spoiler alert, it's not. So it's not going to end until the sun explodes in 4 billion years.
Sparky, what the plan is we're going to have Jeremy actually carve that out into stone tablets, And that's what we're going to offer on the store for sale instead of having it in print. We want to try something new, less ink.
That's it. Dude, we should do the chainsaw if Gary got it. So what we're going to talk to some chainsaw people.
Well, yeah, I found that dude that he was insane. Get us on the map. You remember?
Oh, that's right. You did. We need to
Yeah, the fucking troll map.
Yes, Pepcom. Sinister Secrets of Salt Marsh. I think that's L1. That was a very good one. Very, very good one. Manfred asks about Thieves World. You know, I didn't like anthologies back in the 80s. I remember that. So I never read Thieves World. So I bought a Thieves World book the other day, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and it was book 3. So I haven't read it because I want to read it from the beginning. And I'm kind of an idiot when it comes to reading. I want a hardcover, and those hardcovers are very hard to find.
Yeah.
If there's even a hardcover of the original Thieves World, I can't remember. Just people need to quit. Publishers need to quit with anthologies. Just stop. Stop with the anthologies.
Now, hopefully, you must have missed it earlier, Sparky, but we're going to have it out in the store tomorrow, I hope. Hopefully.
Yeah, Crusader.
I think it will be, though.
So have you seen it, Jeremy? You've seen the new Savage Sword. I heard about it at Comic-Con. That magazine up until probably 170 was fantastic. It was just great. If you ever get a chance to go read the old Savage Swords, I'd recommend it.
Here's a copy of Volume 1.
The first one. Excellent. I learned recently that a lot of the really heavy metal stuff, early heavy metal stuff, was carried over from a French magazine. It was like, oh, that's cool. And that tracks too, Jeremy, because a lot of those themes, I remember them well. A lot of those themes were nothing kind of relevant to 1979 America. You know what I mean? I just remember thinking, this is different.
Yeah.
Stuff. I've been meaning actually to go back and start rereading my heavy metals.
I don't have any of them. I'd love to have some of mine I grew up with. I almost backed that Kickstarter, but it was one of those things I couldn't back it for the bare minimum. You know what I mean? I either wanted to go in and get like some back copies like Lando did and stuff or not fool with it. I just said, forget it, Chuck. You can't afford it. Stay away. You know, someday Steve will go out to San Diego and he'll get you a copy. And you'll have one.
You know, interestingly, though they had the new heavy metal, I didn't see any. And there was a lot. I will say this. This is what I liked about Comic-Con more than Gen Con. And Gen Con used to be this. But at Comic-Con, there were dozens and dozens of small dealers, just small retail stores selling comic books and magazines and just odd and end weird stuff, you know, from the woebegone days. But Gen Con has none of that. Gen Con is all, you know, companies like Trollord Games that are new, and this is what's new, and this is Starfleet Pen or whatever that they're going on about. And you can't really find anything like an old copy of Heavy
Right.
Metal anywhere.
I got you. There's Jeremy's checking in with his thing about King Kothar. See right there about Savage Swords?
I've been reading the new volume of Savage Sword. It has the spirit, but the art is digital, which for some reason really prevents me from immersing. I can see that. And I just picture people sitting in front of tablets drawing. Yeah, I can 100% see that. There's something about that. Was it who did Savage Sword? Was it Buscema or was that? I can't remember who did it. But the Savage Swords, the art in it was, it was Arnie Chan. It's been way too long. The art in Savage Sword was just, it was fantastic. Fantastic. All right, so we're at the top of the hour. So we've rolled over the Ernie Chan. There you go. And we've rolled over the updates. I'm going to do a quick round of updates for the various projects we've got floating around. I'm going to be very quick. So put your ear horns in your ears and listen to my rambling lunacy as soon as I get this mess open. I am not going to talk about ones that we have closed out. All right, so the first one is Codex Exaltum. We have done our final editing pass on Infernum. I think I made one correction yesterday. We'll probably do one more because we have a little bit of time. But that book, so far as I'm concerned, is completed. And the table of contents.
I need a second pass at it.
Okay. Apparently Chuck needs a second pass, which only takes a few hours. So Infernum is, I'll get the table of contents squared and then send it back to you. Infernum is done for all practical purposes. Codex Exaltum, we discovered, so we had to add some monsters at the last minute. I think about 20 of them. And Jeremy noticed over the weekend while I was at Gen Con that I failed to write in the aired sections for those. So we belted those out today. I sent it over to him. I'm sure we'll get them integrated the next day or so. And then there's some course correction we have to do on some of the damages and the monsters. So I hopefully by Friday, Exaltum is ready to go out to you guys. I got to do some art rearranging. There's some other little bit. It's not much. There isn't very much left for Exaltum, so we should done with that. And hopefully those are off to the printers in the next couple of weeks. The Crusader, that's all. Reforged is done. Hermit's done. All of that stuff's done. So the only other Kickstarter we have open is the Gygaxian Fantasy Worlds, or the World Builders Archive, I should say. And we got the final cover in that today, this afternoon. We'll put that out on the socials tomorrow so everybody can see it. They are laying out the book of names. So the first 3 books are laid out. We were going to see. Did we send Candy Crew out last week, Chuck?
No.
Okay,
No,
so
I've got to go back. We got to fix some stuff in there.
Yep. I had asked Chuck to send it out. Then he said let's wait a week because he wanted to look at some stuff that was kind of off kilter in the layout. And I said just hold. So he's going to fix that. And hopefully maybe this week, early next week, Candy Crew will come out. And then the rest of those we're hoping to fall out very, very fast. After that, they're laying out. Dan and Bill are laying out volume 3, Living Fantasy, and 4. They're mostly done for Living Fantasy and doing 4. And everything else is queued up and ready to go. So we're into a layout phase now, which I think we'll move on relatively quickly. Then hopping over to Backer Kit campaign, we've got, I think, 3 Backer Kit campaigns. We've got the one going on right now. If you want to buy a brick, go over and back our building and buy a brick for yourself or put your name or whatever you want to do. The other one is the Adventurer's Backpack. The Adventurer's Backpack is 70-80% laid out. It's about ready for the final passes. I think Peter's really just waiting for it to get some files from me, and then it's done. And someone at Gen Con asked if I would add, and I think this is a great idea, so I'm going to do it. Add a land as treasure chapter that's similar to the treatment that the Player's Handbook classes get, but put it in the Adventurer's Backpack. So I'm going to do that. So there'll be a day or 2 of putting that together and getting that through editing and all that stuff. So the Adventurer's Backpack moving rapidly to conclusion. Next week or so, I anticipate that being kind of laid out, and then we can kind of finalize it. Cover's already done for that. Oh shit! The little books, all kinds of stuff is coming. I didn't even tell anyone. So the little books has arrived. You can see the Castles and Crusades. This is your little notebook affiliate on it. That arrived from the manufacturer.
Have you got those put up where you can't get to them?
Yes.
Because I know what happened with the damn notebooks.
So what's funny also is Dakota had the day off yesterday, and as I was going to just empty the trailer, so he didn't have to worry about it. And as moving stuff around in the trailer and all that shit, 4 gigantic boxes arrive, and these are the backpacks.
Nice, very nice,
with the Castles and Crusades logo on. So these have arrived as well. So the Adventurer's Backpack is rapidly moving towards we'll do a call out for shipping in the next few weeks so we can get that rolling. Then the last one is Castles Agate. So Jason Walton has, yes.
I had a question regards to World Builders real quick, if you want to put that out there.
Yeah.
MJ Cook asked earlier, will the books of the Gygaxian Fantasy Worlds be released as they are finished or all at once when they're all complete?
All at once. We would love to do that, but the shipping on it would be atrocious. You're talking $100 in shipping compared to $10 in shipping if you're stateside.
Yeah.
So it would just be absolutely.
And just to throw into your update with Castle Zygig, Mark C asked, could we get an update on Castle Zygig? What levels are now being worked on? When can we anticipate the first books to be released, and so on and so forth?
Okay. So now that Jason Walton is finished with the World Builders Archive, he's going to start work on the first cover of the Zygig stuff. The first 2 books are done. Third book we're deep into it, and I believe Mike's in level 4. He asked a bunch of questions of Luke Gygax the other day. So, I think there's a sub-level 4A and then level 5, and we should be done with the book 1, giving it a total of 7 levels down, these editing and whatnot. But I anticipate those being print ready by March. Svetlana started on the maps already, so now she's working on all 3 maps simultaneously. So we're not going to have those. This was ready now. This was ready, so those will be a little bit slower. I'm not sure why she's doing that, but I really don't ask artists questions about their methods because I'm not an artist. So
right.
So I anticipate them being print ready by March, April timeframe, and to the printers by then. And when they do, we will launch when those are at the printers, we'll launch the campaign for how you doing? The last 2 books in that, and then Castle Zagic is yours. I'm very, very, very happy with the progress on Castle Zagic.
Yeah, good. Well, his reports seem pretty solid. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
He drops
Dan's
stuff
got
in the
this.
Discord team to them all the time, and I'll read catch
Yeah.
up on stuff. So.
That'll start landing on Jeremy's desk very soon. The conversion for Yigsburg will be there.
Okay, Moondog, MTMJ Moondog asks, I do have a question. Are there 2 good gnome cities I can use for adventure that I'm writing? Because you and Davis love gnomes, Sure, in Aird, yeah.
No, there's no particular gnome cities in there. The gnomes dwell. Yeah. Jeremy goes, there are no gnome cities.
Why could there not be gnome cities? Why not?
Yeah, it's a flintlock. I think it's called the flintlock. It's not on the map. I remember that was a mistake on that map because it was left off. I believe it's called the flintlock. It's a range of hills south of the Greenlick Mountains. Wait, there might actually be. You know what? I think there's one gnomish town. Where's my?
I mean, while we're talking about that, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll get us set up here for the next little bit here.
Okay. Oh yeah, we got to dive into the Eldritch Goblins.
Yeah.
That was today's.
Why is that stuff?
So this will be this. After this, we'll dive into the Goblins and Aird. Let's see, what is that? Grunlick Hole. I believe that. Why don't I ever use the index? There is a gnome city. It's not going to be in here. If it is, it's buried. Just outside of the gates of Grunlick Hole. I believe it is a small township of gnomes and humans and halflings. Let's see. It'll be right here. That's names in here. Just wagons.
The chat comments over the gnomes is fantastic. It's fantastic.
The track small adventurers who settle in. I think it's Trelleborg. I believe it's Trelleborg is a small gnomish town just outside the gates of Grunlick Hole. I believe that's what it is. Put them underground with the doors. We already have things up here. All right. So one of the things we wanted to do is shake up the Ask Me Anything and shift a little bit and go into Aird. We're going to talk about very briefly the Eldritch Goblins that dwell in the world itself. Let me see if I can get that silly file open. So the Eldritch, to give you a little bit of lore for those of you who don't know, Aird is the world setting that I created, and it's kind of the de facto world setting for. Good to see you too, Asher. Glad you stopped by. It's the de facto setting for Castles and Crusades. A ton of stuff on it. We've got like 8 expansion books, the Codex Varied Monster book, deities, all kinds of stuff. So the Eldritch Goblins are a type of goblin that dwells in Aird. They're the first of the goblins, and what they actually are they were once dwarves. Long, long ago, in the days before days, as the dwarves were beginning to spread out across the world, mining and building cities and whatnot, they ran afoul of Orndul, the Red God. There was quite a contest of wills between that people and that god. And Orndul is evil. I don't rank him up as a horribly evil god, but he's definitely evil. So in vengeance upon the dwarves, he found there was many, many dwarves who didn't dwell underground, who didn't stay with the caves and their kinfolk and all that. They wandered across the wide world to explore it and see what it was. So he started finding these dwarves, locating these dwarves, and he corrupted them. He took basically aspects of their personality, which could be seen as are evil, really, and twisted it and then made them immortal. Each of these creatures is flawed in some way. For instance, Meta is a dwarven female eldritch goblin. She's not dwarven. She was a dwarven female who left her husband for a giant, and she dwelt with this giant for a while until she came home one day and discovered that the giant had slain her husband and was going to feed her husband to her. In her rage, she took up a clawed hammer and beat him to death.
God.
Orndul finds this enraged female dwarf, and he kind of spills this his evil into her, grants her immortality, and in time, because of the evil of this god, the red goddess in these creatures, in these dwarves, it twists them and molds them into these horrific, doppelgangers of their previous selves. Manifestations, and she is actually a little bit comely, but her hair's all thin and she's haggard looking. But she carries the blue hat that belonged to her husband. That's kind of her magic item. And each of these goblins has this kind of story behind them, where Orandul found them, twisted them in such a way, using something and making them eldritch. From these, there's one of these females who eventually begins to lay eggs, and the eggs are the goblins themselves, the goblins you would see written up in your monsters and treasure book, and they're just drones. There's no female or male goblins; they're just drones. There's just the mother goddess goblin, and then all of these eldritch goblins that are scattered about. The eldritch goblins can only be killed by some particular strange way. For instance, I believe Meta, the only way to kill her husband, that hat she carries was her husband's hat. And the only way to kill Meta is to take that hat and bury it in hallowed ground. That puts her husband's soul to rest, and that will kill Meta. And there's another one, the picture that you're seeing there, that is actually Halfar. Halfar the goblin, I want to say what did he do? Did he murder his comrades? No, that was another one. So Halfar, he was deeply, deeply in love with his wife. So this is it. So the Eldritch Goblins aren't necessarily evil. And Halfar is a perfect example of that. Halfar was deeply in love with his wife, and when she died, he was so grief-stricken that he couldn't eat, he couldn't move, he just kind of laid next to her, hoping that he too would die. When Orandul found him, breathed the life of immortality in him, and kind of cursed his life at that point. So Halfar, he plucks his own eye out so that he can see the creatures that are attached to him. And once Orandul is done with him, there's one linked chain on him. And anyone who Halfar kills at that point, the soul is bound to the goblin. So he's got these kind of ethereal chains that follow him everywhere. And as you can see in Zoe's picture there, those are the damned. So if Halfar kills you, you don't go to the stone fields or wherever you are going. Your soul is attached to him via these chains. And he carries this eye. He plucked his own eye out so that he could see better, see these creatures of them. And that's what you're seeing from the skull that he has in his hand are on his hip in that picture. I've got a few renditions of Halfar. That skull is actually the skull of his wife, and that he carries with him everywhere. Yes, because he still pines for her. He still loves. So Halfar there's good in that goblin, right? Obviously, he has lived for like 12,000 years, so his crimes are equal to the acts of good that he has done, and all of that weighs him down. Others are extremely evil. There is Arknor. He is the one who slew all of his companions. He just murdered them for gold. So he is easy for Orandul corrupt. So if you run across Arknor, he's just wickedly mean. Yeah. So these are the Eldritch Goblins. In playing them in your game, they're not like goblins. They should each be given their own personalities. If you create, and there's limitless numbers of them. You can create whatever kind of goblin you want, Eldritch Goblin out of this, with whatever motivation you want. But they're going to be at least 12,000 years old. They're going to be steeped in the lore of that. At least minimally, they're going to have the memory of all of that. Even if they're not very intelligent, they're going to have lived through all of this stuff. And in that long journey through life, they're going to have, done actions that they don't appreciate.
My home game here, I've got one that one of the groups has ran into once in the jungles of Inclunade. There's one down in that area.
Nice.
And they ran into him. They spoke to him for a little bit, and then he left. And so they're under the impression now that they've met someone they can go back to and deal with. He's so evil, it's unbelievable. But it doesn't matter because he's crazy. But he's got them fooled into thinking he'll be like, you need some advice, come see me. I'll help you out. That kind of thing.
And that's the perfect setup for an Eldritch Goblin, because their motivations are going to be way different, right? They remember being dwarves. Some, those that go crazy don't. They remember the good old days or whatever you want to call it. But they're evil, or something in their wiring isn't, is correct. Because Orandul was able to corrupt them, and they've been breathed, the breath of life has gone into them from this exceedingly evil god. And aired the way gods pass power on is to they give it to you. They don't just grant you power; it has to come from the god and to you. So anytime a god does it does it so rarely. But if it does it, it's it's got to have a real purpose.
Yeah.
And of course, in the big story of Air Oglelte is that female Eldritch Goblin's name. She's the goddess. She's really the most powerful of all the Eldritch Goblins, and she's the one that drops these eggs and these drones and drones and drones until.
I'm sorry. When I first read the Codex of Air the first time and ran across that whole thing about the eggs, you talking about freaking somebody out. I'd never imagined them like that ever. And it's unique. I liked it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that kind of caught you that way because that's.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. So when the Eldritch Goblins, because a lot of them they hate the dwarves because the old dwarves have all of this,
right?
And the Eldritch Goblins are mostly just homeless, Cretans living on the edge of society. They made war on the dwarves, and it's the great Goblin Dwarf Wars that last for about 400 years, ending in the Stone Wars. There's 4 of them, or 5, ending in the Stone Wars, in which the last of all of the dwarven kingdoms, but 3 are completely destroyed and wiped out. Goblins are mostly.
And if I recall correctly, the fourth one's the only reason it is because they were like, we're not participating in this bullshit, and they shut themselves up. Right? Am I right about that?
Some of them shut. They had to. They shut themselves off because it was too much. One is cursed with the stone dwarves. Yes. Brunlik Hold stays open, fighting the whole time, but Norgorod Kham closes their doors to survive. And it's Norgorod Kham who actually eventually comes up with the rune magic to destroy the goblins in the world of Erin and scatter their kingdoms after a long several centuries rule. So you've got this story of the dwarves ruling the world of Erin for many, many, many thousands of years until the goblins, the offspring of Orandul, destroy their kingdoms, and it pretty much ends that golden age, and it's over. And that's your first, when you're playing in the world of Erin, that's kind of your first level of dungeons and magic items and ancient Eldritch scrolls and all kinds of stuff, because that was 3,000 years previous to this time, I think, is when that falls apart. So you've got stuff, layers upon layers and upon layers of adventure. So you can easily, one of the coolest adventures I ran was in the Rhodos, and they just unearthed this old ancient dwarven. It was really just an outpost of like 12 rooms, but I think it's Succubus or Vrock had taken up residence in it. I can't remember now. So they end up in this horrific battle in this ancient dwarven room with dwarven magic. It was a lot of fun. It was very, very cool. But that is the story of the Eldritch Goblins. You can use them in any campaigns. High, low, doesn't matter. They're immortal, so they don't have a lot of hit points or hit dice. But they're immortal, so you don't need a lot of hit points and hit dice. I've used them in first level all the way up to 20th level games. They pretty much go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, all right,
it should be Alan. Alan asks if there's a high resolution file in aired maps. It should be on the website. I believe, I'm not going to swear to that, but I believe there is.
I think the world map's on there for sure, but the detailed one, I think, I have to look and see. It's up there because people get it when they buy the bundle, but I'm not sure if I ever put it up for sale separate or not.
Let's do it separate. And I kind of want to go into the tubes. One of the things that we've come out of
that's what it was we were talking about was the tubes.
Get the tubes in. Coming out of Gen Con, I want us to start updating a lot of stuff. Chuck's working on this channel, the Twitch channel right now. Jeremy's going to be diving into Patreon. We're just going to update and stuff like getting these maps out. And Sparky mentions these, like I've got all these over here. I've got open in front of me these stories of these Eldritch Goblins. We need to get these out. So people can see what's happening. So there's going to be a lot of just small little changes and updates you're going to start seeing almost immediately. I think the first changes kicked in yesterday. Chuck added some sounds to the Twitch stream or something. So just lots of stuff coming our
way. Let's see. We do have a few questions to finish up the stream with. The first one's from Texaurus Rex. Any Foundry VT product news? The M&T is imminent. Hopefully I'll have that delivered by the end of next week. I've got to have a conversation with Foundry, but I think it's about ready to be released. They are working hard on finishing up the Canopy Green. I need to check in with that team at Rip Tabber and see where they're at, but I know he was chewing through it pretty hard before I left for vacation, then Gen Con. So Should be doing good with that. Next question is from Death Angel Shadow. Any chance of getting a print version of the Crusader 1 through 27 in one book?
Not in one book. We did 2 omnibuses. Is that the right word?
That's right. Yeah, we did 2 of those before.
Words are just failing me today, but we did we did 2 omnibuses years ago. We could do those, but one book would put in about 500 pages. So now what we did do in those days is we put color inserts for the covers, front, inside front, back, inside back for each of the issues. And it was so ridiculously labor intensive that we eventually dropped the product.
Sure.
Now, having said that, it's possible that our new machine will sort that for us. We're only beginning to tap what this new machine can do.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see some. I would love to see those back in print. I'd almost love to see them just single issues back in print. But
yeah, almost.
Yeah.
Let's see. Steve K from YouTube says, I just got my starter set box. Very, very nice.
Thank you.
Sparky is appalled that there's no Lady Goblin exotic dancers available in Aired. In your world, at least, Steve. Let's see. Oh, Greg Rage says you should create a new series called Fantasy Medieval League Football, where fantasy race from football teams to compete in organized games in order to win the holy grail of chaos control. But now there is a game like that already out there.
I think we should do that, but
Blood Bowl.
do you remember? Some of you guys are going to remember this. Some of you aren't. Those games from the 70s, maybe the 80s. That was football, and you put your teams on the little metal board, and you turned it.
We all played that bullshit.
It shook.
That's all it did. It just shook. Some dude made $1 billion off that, and his family's still laughing about it.
For those of you who don't know, that the football field would shake. It was metal, and your little figures, and it would just shake, and the figures would just move around, and you would, I guess, score touchdowns. I can't remember now.
I mean, it shook enough to where they would move, but as kids, you just thought it was fucking awesome. You're like, oh, these things moving.
Absolutely.
And now you'd look at it and you'd be like,
Ray just remembers.
Yeah. Now you're just like, what? Yeah.
Fosco, yes. Fosco says, I wish I knew all that Eldritch Goblin stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice to put in that book. That's one of the things Chuck's been pushing for years now to get more aired material out there. And we're going to do it starting right now. Today's segment is the first of many to come as we just kind of plunge into aired and just the unique nature of the setting. I think we'll get more than that. Omnibus, I like that. Now. Yeah, now I say all the time, now is a legitimate time frame. So today, and this was Chuck's idea to add an aired segment, and I said, let's do it. And so we added that today. I had Mattel Electronic Football 2, handheld gaming, yes. Yeah, the little bitty.
Oh, yeah, the little one. Yeah, I remember that one too. Yeah.
Cool. That was very cool.
God, we're all living
all
our.
right, I think on that, we're about ready to wrap up. Is that it?
I think we're good to go.
Thank you, Sparky. And hey, you sent me an email, I think Monday or Tuesday, we're going to do groundbreaking. I'm waiting for a text from the guy over there, Logan. But we'll see. So, hopefully. All right. On that note, we're going to wind down and get out of here. Go find some dinner. The look for Chuck will be back on Friday. We'll do our stream on Thursday, and then we've got a new stream on Friday afternoon. Effed Up Friday. So be sure to check that out. And Davis and I are going to be doing a reaction stream very soon. We've got to get timing on that, but that's going to be a lot of fun.
Very true.
All right, everybody, take it easy, and you all have a wonderful rest of your week.
Yep, you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you then. Trolls. We'll see you guys later. Bye.